basically showing and getting you right over there. So with that, I would like to get to the first slide, which talks about MIS and the ABCs of print MIS. So the agenda will be briefly about what is print MIS, what was the first print MIS system that came out into the marketplace, what are the components of print MIS, why have a print MIS? I mean, all of us sitting in this room need to first understand, is it really required for my business? Do I require a print MIS? And then go on to talk about what are those things right now which we don't understand, which snatch away some amount of profits that we need to earn. All of us who are in business need to earn profits to stay in the business. So how some of these things actually take away parts of that profit that we earn on a day-to-day basis. Then we'll talk about the print management from a global optimization perspective. Why have a print MIS which can cater to whatever you have today? See, there are softwares available across the world and would say that, listen, you need to have A, B, C, D, all these different pieces of hardware, and then you are a business to run. What we are going to talk about is, this is what I have. This is what I have. And how do I get the best from what I already have? Okay, so that's the global optimization thing that we'll talk about. And we'll talk a little about the foundation suite of products like scheduling, like estimation, like advanced quoting systems, direct machine interface and things. And then I would like to give you a small insight. If you are considering buying a MIS solution, what are the things that you should be looking at? And believe me, I'm not going to talk anything about EFI. Okay. To start with, the first print-focused MIS system originated actually in the late 1970s. The Stuart and Logic systems were among the first. Now, if the reason I highlight Logic over here is because of the simple fact that Logic is still a system that is alive, running, and kicking, and it's a part of the EFI suite of products. So if there is anybody who has ever brought print MIS right from the beginning, day one to now, we have. Okay? And it's in the beginning, it just used to be a huge computer which used to do very, very small things in print estimating. It was a couple of engineers who came together and said, listen, when one is traveling, the other one can't do an estimate for the customer. So why don't we find out some kind of a software which can do the estimating when we are both not around? And that's how this entire thing really began. So talking about some of the profit snatchers today, the reason I'm talking about this is when you understand what are the pain areas for you today, and if you really believe that these are the pain areas for you today, you will realize that what is the value that print MIS will get you on the table. Okay? So firstly, job isn't communicated clearly to estimating and customer service. How many times does this happen in every organization? Several times. The customer is thinking of something else in the job. The customer service thinks something else. Estimating is giving a different quote. And lo and behold, we have chaos reigning all across the place. The estimating process is slow, non-standard, and does not connect to the job costing. When I say estimating process is slow, how many of you really believe over here that 80% of the time, if you are the first guy who's reached the customer, you are bound to get the job? So the faster your response to in the marketplace, the faster you get out over there and give a quote to the customer and say, listen, this is what I can deliver this product for, the chances are higher for you to get that job. So sometimes this process is absolutely non-standard and does not connect to job costing. Means you have not really looked at what your costs could be. Today, typically, I would say a very small example is people do a lot of jobs and then they haven't realized that when they have to ship it out, they have to put corrugated boxes and then put that all stuff into the corrugated box and then deliver it out. Okay, so that is a part that is not costed for. absolutely not costed for, but it is a cost which is going out of your bottom line. So you need to look at all your costs. Salespeople spend too much time on the paperwork and coordination. This is what my boss tells me all the time. If you're in sales, you should be out there on the field. And that's what needs to happen all the time. So if you have salespeople, you are probably thinking all the time that why are they sitting in office? Why aren't they going out on the field and meeting some customers right now? But the reason behind that is they have to do all that much amount of work, paperwork, to do the coordination over telephone. Where's the job right now? How many prints have come out? Where is it got to be shipped and all that? So that's again somewhere a point where profits are getting reduced. Okay, production is often presented with instructions that are incomplete. Okay, and then last moment stuff like this had to be laminated or this had to be stapled on the side, and then there's a completely new process which has to be done, and that is not costed for. So there goes out all the amount of money that you had earned out of that job. I mean, I will give you a very right example from today's parlance in India. I met up with a father-son combination of printers. Most of them are that way, but there was this guy who had done his engineering abroad and came back into India and is running the father's business. And he said that it is so difficult. Why do I need the Printmias system? I need it because I need to tell my father at times that the jobs that he always gets is not profitable for us. That's his reason for getting a Printmias system. Okay, so things are changing, but it will take a little more time to do that. But one of the things that are definitely is a problem right now is that production at times is never aware of all the details of the job. It is difficult to have up-to-the-minute business data available for making critical decisions. So what happens is, a lot of you have probably Excel sheets coming up to your table, this much amount of production, this much amount of material came in, this much paper and stuff. But that's all data. That's really not information. Can you decipher anything out of it? Can you find out a trend? Can you find out that in summer season my requirement for XYZ paper goes up by 30%? Okay, that's because it is a season to print whatever, marriage cards or for that matter anything. So those are the kind of decisions you want to take so that you are ahead of the crowd. Production priorities are clearly not defined, and this is resulting in a lot of bottlenecks. So what is the role of an integrated job flow? If you do not decide which one goes from where to where to where to where, you will never get a production which is very flat and very optimized. Okay, right now the bindery is free, so let's do this job over there. Right now, the Heidelberg is free for next 2 hours, so let's get the job out. Okay, so we do not plan. Shop floor data collection is almost negligible in most presses that I go to, but is there in some of the more forward-looking presses today. So shop floor data collection is very, very important in order for you to know where exactly you are having the wastages, where exactly there are inaccurate costings which are happening, make-ready times or make-ready jobs are giving a lot of paper wastage and stuff like that. So you need to get more and more shop floor data. A lot of materials are lost or consumed without being identified with a job. I hope everybody in this room will agree, if they have been into a printing press, that there's a lot of printed paper which nobody accounts for into any job and is actually collecting in a bin somewhere to be thrown out as scrap. If you constantly kept weighing that paper over a period of 1 year, you could actually earn a lot of money out of that entire thing had it been accounted for. Okay, there is no process for wastes, no tracking process for any wastes. So if the registration is not correct, somebody just throws 50 sheets into the dustbin and you never know about it. Okay, invoices are dispatched to customers days after they are. I mean, of course, we all have the problem of first getting a purchase order from a customer, which is still a big issue till now, okay? And then after getting a purchase order, it takes at times more than 10 days, 15 days before we can invoice the customer. Now, you and me both know that if you have not sent a bill or an invoice to a customer, there is no way that he is going to pay you. So these are things that actually take away profits out of your pocket, and you don't even realize it. My favorite saying is that most printers think if the press is clicking at the back, then I must be earning some money out of it. We actually spend about 30% in real production time. And guess what? We are more and more investing money into getting this production thing of 30% up to speed. I have the latest 6-color machine. I have the latest 4-color with CPC and stuff. But what we are not understanding is the rest of the 70% is where you can improve the process. So with equipment speeds actually reaching their physical limits today, you can get only as much as 18,000 or 20,000 copies per hour from an offset printer. What more? Can you get more out of it if you do something else? But the before and after the run process is where you can really improve, and that's what I'm going to tell you, how to improve on those processes in order to make your entire print operation more profitable. So that gets us to this question: why have a print MIS solution? Okay, successful rethinking of the business and production processes, costs, profits, wastage associated with the business of print. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm talking about only changing processes to streamline your business by understanding all your costs, realizing the maximum profits, and reducing your total wastage. If you can do these 3 things, you will be a very profitable printer. So effective solution for more accurately analyze, forecast business, operate more efficiently, identify process costs. So what the print MIS really does is that it helps you operate more efficiently. Identify where exactly are these process costs. If you do not put that cost in over there, it will not let you go ahead. There are manual overrides though, which I am not going to talk about right now, but it will stop processes until and unless you put in all those costs in. And that would mean, how many of you ever put in cost for air conditioning? Space? So all of that actually adds up to your cost. Today we only come out with one hourly rate, and then there's this famous saying when printers say that if that guy can do it and he has a bigger press than me, I can do it too, and probably I'll earn some profits out of it. So don't go by that, because in the rat race you will end up last, or you'll probably never touch the finish line, because your costs are getting added on top of every job that you're taking. You need a print MIS solution to improve your productivity and profitability. So that's what we are in business for, profits and more profits. If you're not going to increase your profits, what's the point of being in business, firstly? So think about this when you go back, that do I need to improve my profits? And if that is a parameter for you to do business, then we can talk about how to improve it. Without data and process background, many printing business will not sustain this long haul race that you are up against. The big guys will eat out the small guys, and it will be just a few players ruling the entire roost. So the print management system that I am talking about is based on the theory of global optimization. And what exactly do we mean by global optimization is a manufacturing operation is a chain of interdependent links. If you see any manufacturing operation, it is like an assembly line, okay? But do you at any point of time think that your printing press is an assembly line? Anyone who thinks of that? Who can actually say that my printing press is an assembly line? Because everything is so dynamic over there that it takes very lot of problems at times to make it a manufacturing process. You would want to do it a job in the bindery first, then get it into the printing, or first printing, then bindery, some amount of pre-press is still on the way, and all that keeps happening. So it's a very jumbled up process. If you come out with a workflow of wanting to optimize whatever you already have, you need to do it in a chain of events. Only a few constraints control the throughput, on-time delivery, cost of entire printing operations. So there are constraints always. All of us know that there are constraints. Clients don't give us files in time. We do not have enough time to deliver and output it. We have constraints of equipment being used for some other job at that point of time. So you have to understand that these constraints will always be there. It is working through these constraints that you have to achieve your business. So a global optimized solutions can dynamically impact a manufacturing process in these three ways. You have to first synchronize your business, optimize, and then streamline it. And we'll look at it in a slightly more different way when we look at the core. So you have profitable decisions right at there. So if you are the decision maker in your organization, you have to put yourself in that red circle right in the middle, okay? And then you have all the people that are surrounding you, all your workers for different segments, could be production, could be IT, could be anything. And then you have a planning division, an administration, and a production, okay? So for administration, we have access, reporting, financials, general ledger kind of jobs, payables, account payables, history, receivables, invoicing, costing, all that. On this side, on the planning side, you have more print operations, okay? So specifying, estimating, quoting, order entry, planning, scheduling, purchasing. And then at the production end, you require shipping, fulfillment, finished goods, job status, all those kind of information. So this is how we look at the core of MIS. And we will try and achieve all of that for an organization. And most specifically for a print organization. We are not talking about any manufacturing organization. We don't sell software for every manufacturing kind of an organization. We have specifically focused at providing print MIS, which is only to the print industry. So what are the most important components over here? Estimating and quoting, which is first that you hit. Order entry and job ticketing, assuming that you get the job after estimating. Once you get the order entry, you are checking if you have the raw material available to do that job, so raw material inventory. Once then you find out shop floor data as to which machine is on what job, how much time is it going to take to get this job in over there, and things like that. Then you have invoicing and receivables. Then if you, once you have done a job, you need to keep the history of that job, okay? And then for the decision makers, they need the standardized reports as to how much production happened today, how much production happened yesterday, how much will be required to do day after tomorrow. Just a second, I think I forgot to do this. 3% is profits, okay? Top performers, on the other hand, consistently meet and exceed their target. So what's the difference? Industry leaders use Sprint MIS solution to streamline processes and profit improvement. So when you are doing an estimate for a job, probably you estimate at about 15, 20, 10 to 15% is my margin on top of this. But if you have not done all your costs properly, then industry average shows that people make about 3% margin. Now, are you into this business to do 3% margin? Anybody who's interested in only doing 3% margin and going on? Okay. So when you are looking at an estimating system, there are right now, I'm coming from a very neutral perspective on this, is that there are certain estimating systems available, and I'm not saying that all you need to do is just tomorrow go back home and buy a Sprint MIS. You might actually look at a low-end estimating system to start with, at least to put all your costs in the perspective. Okay, so if you're buying an estimating system from the market, you should be looking at, does your estimate process represent your production process? That means all the things that are there in the estimation or you have in the production process, like a 4-color press, is it there over there or not? If you have a laminating device, then is it there or not? If you have a bindery, then is it there or not? Because sometimes it could be a very low-end estimation tool and you might not just get the value out of it. Okay? How do you collect and communicate that specifications for an estimate? Okay? If you're going to collect that information, how will you communicate it into, say suppose you have certain prices given for certain things. How is it linked in? Is it linked in properly for the estimating system to generate the right kind of estimate, or it could be faulty also? How smart is your estimating system in saying that this is not a very profitable deal for you? This is not a very profitable deal for you. If the estimation system says that, I think then it is a smart tool. Does your estimate keep on working even after the quote has been delivered? That means after you have generated a quotation from your estimating system, does it still tell you that there are these many estimates which had been generated out of this? So these are the things that you should be looking at when you are buying just a plain, simple, vanilla estimation software from the marketplace. Integrated job management is more about data collection and how important data collection is into getting the right decision making to happen. How you can really streamline your process at the job management level to do production. I'm not going to go into very detail into this. I hope I'm doing well on time. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. This is another area which is really something that is close to my heart and probably close to every one of you. Scheduling is the most gruesome thing available today. The reason for that, there are so many different processes that all of us use every day for doing this part of the press. Use Excel sheets, use whiteboards, use blackboards, use production floor, all kinds of things. More or less, most people are now moving into a scheduling arena where they use at least Excel sheet to move one job from there to there. But many times what happens is there's this new job coming in and you have to change the schedule completely. It takes a scheduler typically about 2 hours to 3 hours to really figure out the entire channel of the schedule. Bindery, machine, all of that put together. Why can't, and do you think that every time he does that, that is the most profitable way to do business? The reason behind that is there is no cost association right now when he does that. You cannot put a cost to the fact that he's moved the job from a 4-color machine to a 5-color machine because there is no cost associated with that. when you look at really high-end scheduling systems like what we provide in EFI, you are supposed to know the cost associated with moving a job from position A to position B. So suppose one of the breakdown isn't working today. You have to do a lot of juggling here and there. Now that juggling, do you know that you lose money in doing that juggling most of the times? The reason behind that, we do not take economic decisions while doing that. That is the best bet available. Here what we are talking about, a scheduling system, is that which can tell you that what if scenarios. It can tell you that option A is you move this piece into this press, this piece into this press, this job into the bindery at such and such time, and will schedule all your jobs. And by the way, if you don't like this, there is option B. Or you can do a what if scenario. What if I take this job and put it on press 3? And it will tell you what is the economic consideration behind it. Are you going to lose $500? Are you going to improve $500 by doing this? Are you going to make 30 more jobs at a customer's place or to some of your most important customers delayed deliveries? So these are things that the scheduling system is going to tell you. And the challenges that are there with most of you, and I think this is very much there with most of the people today, is manual and static solutions. So you are doing an Excel sheet or a board, and they don't really interact with you on the costing part of it. Okay, and the manufacturing environment is very dynamic. There is you have to also understand while doing scheduling is that one job might not be ready for another process before a particular process is supposed to be done. Okay, so you can't do a bindery before doing a coating on the product or something like that. Now, those are things that are already there as more than 7,000 rules which are already built into a EFI sprint scheduling kind of a software. 7,000 different rules which are as algorithms already there inside. So every time you start operating on it, it will give you an optimized scenario. So the global optimization, coming back to it again, is the ability to maximize the resources of and materials requires a dynamic scheduling solution capable of responding to the ever-changing production environment. So achieving global optimization, there are two theories. I mean, you can talk about the global optimization theory, or you can talk about the theory of constraints. Thinking that this is what I have and I need to achieve what I have to deliver with these many number of equipments that I have. I don't have the liberty of just buying another 4-color press because I need to deliver in 4 days. Okay, so getting the best out of what you have is what we're talking about as theory of constraints. Okay, so creating a working scenario that maximizes on equipment utilization, eliminates bottlenecks, and delivers most jobs on time. So when you're doing this scheduling bit, you will always need to be sure about one thing, that least number of jobs are delayed and lesser number of rupees are lost. These are the two most important things that you have to always keep in mind when doing scheduling, which are some things that we don't actually really keep in mind. I think we more or less do something about the delays part of it, but we still don't take care of the cost part of it. So that's exactly how a screenshot from a EFI solution looks like on the scheduling side. So you have, I don't know if it's visible to people at the back. I'll just give you a quick snapshot. All your presses are mentioned in that table over there. So it will tell you all the press number 1, press number 2, and what is the type of press. If it's a sheet fed, it's a web press or whatever. what is the site it is in. So if you are multiple site, like you are in Hyderabad, you are in Bombay, you are in Bangalore, it will give you the sites and will also tell you what are the idle hours that are there, when the machine does not have a job. Okay. And also it will tell you that what is the start date. So start day is always today. Okay. And when you are changing the jobs, it will tell you how many jobs will be delivered on time, how many jobs will be late, and how many jobs can come out actually earlier than what you had actually estimated for. Okay. And all this information can always be exported out. They will graphically represent all the different run hours, setup hours, shut hours, idle hours, all those informations are all there. So without going more deep into that, let's talk about inventory and purchase. This is another area where a lot of people have a little bit of a problem, but more people think about it as something that is not core to their business. Okay, tracking of inventories, tracking of orders, tracking of has it been delivered and stuff like that. Now, many times what happens is we need to take economic decisions on buying paper, on buying chemicals, on buying stuff. Now, with a Print MIS solution, what you can do is just pick up the last time you have bought it. Okay, and you can also drill down and go down and see, okay, last time I had taken quotations from these 3 vendors, and out of these I had decided on going with vendor A. The reason was that his prices were better and his quality was better or whatever. So if you had done that activity 3 years back, you don't have to again pick up your threads and start looking at who are the vendors selling this piece of paper or chemical or whatever. So you can do that. Plus number 2, when you are getting your inventory levels are really low, say suppose you can set your minimum order quantities that at 500,000 sheets of 1823 paper, give me an alarm that I need to buy paper. Okay, so you can set those alarms and processes within the system to let you know that this is a problem and fix that. Plus now this module is also going to take care of part shipments, fulfillments. When you are doing fulfillments for some customers, you have printed about 2 lakh sheets for them, but they need only 50,000 now, another 50,000 later, another 50,000 even later than that. Okay, this comes as a part of your of your inventory also. So you can then start tracking that how much of that inventory is right now there with you. So every time the customers ask, so how many more brochures do you have for this product? You can give them the number. Okay. Talking about direct machine interface, this is where most of the ERP solutions like BAN and SAP and all these guys really fail to deliver goods to the printing industry, the direct machine interface. And this is where EFI as an organization really scores very, very high, because what we do is, it doesn't matter if your engine is about 15 years old or 10 years old, okay, not SIP 3, not SIP 4, not JDF compliant, does not matter. We can still connect that device into a MIS system through sensors that will put inside on the machine, and get information as to what is the weight of the paper that goes in on top of it, how much good copies did you get out at the end of the day, how many times did the operator really stop the machine, for what reasons did he stop the machine, and all that actually percolates down as productivity into the scheduling system. So scheduling then comes to know, okay, although the equipment manufacturer said that this machine is supposed to produce 9,000 copies an hour, but it actually does about 7,500. But typically we go by that mindset that this is a 9,000 copies per hour machine. But in real life scenario, it could be much lesser than that number. So those true productivities are all brought out through the direct machine interface. It informs you about downtimes, causes, and captures the trends. So you can actually keep taking that information. And by the way, this module within for direct machine interface, you can put without a MIS system also. The reason behind that is at least to ensure that if you have a huge number of presses and you are not being able to understand which press is doing how much time, which operator is really giving you a productive job, who is not giving you a productive job, you are running 3 shifts and out of which 1 shift you are there and 2 shifts you are not there, you can get all this information at your desktop when you reach next day morning in the office. So data collection can be performed from shop floor using keypads or workstations or whatever, and that could also mean material, labor information, status of a particular job, updates on a particular job, all that can be actually, so this is more to do with that kind of thing. And ultimately, the reporting that is required by the decision makers. Ultimately, why are you investing into a MIS system? You want to know, you want to get information, not data. You're getting piles and piles and piles of data and you don't even know what's really happening, or cannot take any real business decisions out of it. So you use a reporting tool or query the software to find out information that you really want to learn. Things like a particular sales guy is not really performing for the last 3 months, you want to check him out, you can actually get a report asking what was his performance over the last 12 months. Is this a seasonal thing that is not performing in the last 3 months, or is it something that is very inherent to this particular sales guy? Does he have a difficult territory to work in? Okay. And same goes for a lot of customers. How much money did I get from XYZ company this year? Were they printing mostly brochures? Were they printing business cards? Were they printing what? Okay. Now, you know today how much of paper you are churning out, but you don't know what is that paper being used for. And then you can once you have that kind of information, you can very well go and say, listen, we produce the maximum number of wedding cards or greeting cards in this marketplace when you are going and positioning yourself as an organization. And this reporting structure that we have put in place is not a very generic like what you will get out of a ERP system from SAP or BAN, will be a very generic manufacturing type of output. No. We give reports which are very, very print industry specific. So what are the key things that we learn out of this? What should you look when you are buying a print MIS solution? Number 1, flexibility. Does the solution offer the flexibility you require to run your business? And with the emphasis is on your business. The print business is very different from manufacturing business, from financial business. So try and understand this. Is the solution provider making something for the print industry specific, or are they making for generic everybody? Okay. The depth of that, the warning over here is that demonstration processes can be very, very deceiving at times. Okay. What you see upfront might be very appealing, but you need to drill down. The more you can drill down, the better is the chances that you will find out there's something wrong if there is something wrong. Okay. Stability, ask for references and reference for references. So how many sites has this guy installed? Is it in India? Is it not in India? Is it abroad? How many in abroad? Okay, what is the kind of install base? How are the customers feeling about their support service, about their implementation? All that, because you're going to spend a lot of money in doing this activity. Focus. Solution provider that is focused on the print industry particularly. I'm time and again talking about print industry because I know several printers who have invested a lot of money in ERP solutions and they have burnt their hands, and all that they can do now is do invoicing and inventory management. Really, the print MIS thing is more for the production part of production improvement and not to do anything with the more or less the administrative side of it. That is a given, but it improves your production capability and streamlines your production capability. Growth potential. Is this guy a fly-by-night operator? Is he just coming into India to sell this one piece of software and run away after this? Or is he going to be there when I need it? Print MIS systems for some of EFI's customers are as old as 25 years. They've been there for 25 years doing the same system over and over and over again. I would like to mention that out of 15 out of the top 19 US-based printers use EFI Print MIS, and 4 out of the top 5 Gold Award winners in the NAPL Awards use a Print MIS system from EFI. So we have been there, done that several times over. And lastly, the implementation and training. Selling is a different ball game altogether. Do they have enough development staff? If I need a customization, can they do it for me? How many people are there over here? How many people are there worldwide? Do they have enough support people to support me today, tomorrow, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Okay, so those are the questions that you need to ask. So why shouldn't I develop a MIS in-house? This is something that comes from what Freddie wanted me to cover during this session, is that why should people not develop Print MIS solutions in-house? You should tell them not to do this, and why not, okay? And the reason behind that is there is a large amount of executive time that is wasted out of this exercise. You as printers are interested in doing print. How many of you are really interested in developing a software? Let that be done by people who do software. Okay? So you will spend more and more and more time trying in developing this software and adapting it into your own setup. The software is as good as what you know today. So you know about this much about the printing industry, or this much about the printing industry, or this much about the printing industry. The software is going to be that big. Whereas when you are talking about a system solution developer, we have more than 20,000 customers talking to us worldwide level, and we have that much amount of more experience in developing that software, with so many more customers giving us feedback every day. Okay? Constant upgradation cost. You developed it today, and okay, this is fine, this is working for me, this is great, run it for me. Tomorrow, 1 year down the line, again, your dynamics change. You now have a new engine. It needs a completely different estimation stuff to be done. And again, call that same guy, spend more time with him, integrate that machine stuff with it. So all that cost is going to be phenomenally high. And non-availability of reporting tools. Most of these softwares that you would generate in-house would basically give you more and more data. So they will pick up that data, put it in a more nice form and give it to you. But they don't give you information. And at the scheduling level, most of them can't do a very good job. Scheduling is something that is very specific to the print industry. And in fact, it really works because of the fact that there is direct machine interface. Without the productivity numbers coming from the direct machine interface, scheduling will not be the same. So that's all from me. I would like to ask you if any of you had any questions, then I'm ready to take them. Yeah.
Typically, how much time do you think it takes from the actual purchaser that's going to buy your product to implement the product?
Okay. Now, there are several softwares that are available in the marketplace, depending at the level that you would like to implement. There are low-end softwares which can be actually implemented and run within 1 month. okay, within 15 to 20 days to 1 month. And there are the high-end softwares which could take something about 6 months to 8 months to implement. And in the beginning, the implementation time is a lot longer for any organization. And as you go, as you have done 1 or 2 implementations, the third one and the fourth one will be much faster because of the simple reason that you have understood the business much better. So that's my, yeah. Do you have anything else? One can fill in and the other guy when a new guy joins in.
In terms of man hours, every day for the first 1 month or 6 months that you're talking about, how much time will it take of this team?
See, the way we devise it is that typically about 4 to 5 hours every day of the implementation period time. Okay, training times will be 8 hours. So there'll be training sessions which are intermittent. So you have training on estimation which will be about 5 to 6 days to 10 days, and then implementation of the estimation for the next 10 days or 15 days. Then there'll be a training session. So when you are doing implementation, it's about 4 to 5 hours in a day. When you are doing training, it's 8 hours a day.
Typically in a press, do you think it's possible?
We have already made it possible. We have installed
Taking a team out from regular production, scheduling.
No, we are not
planning.
talking about taking out teams from regular production. See, when you are going to get into doing this, believe me, you have to think a little more differently. Think that you are going to earn money out of doing this activity. So if you are going to invest in another additional individual who will be filling in for some time. See, we are also open to the fact that if this particular shift is difficult to do, we'll do all the trainings in the evenings. We can do that if morning sessions are difficult. Yeah.
What has the experience been on this? Can you typically tell me, because we're talking just theoretical right now, what is the past experience of EFI been? What happens actually on it?
On taking out people for this, we are currently doing an implementation right now at one of our customers, and they have multiple teams. Okay, so when a particular team is undergoing training, they are doing just the training part of it. 1 or 2 individuals from the MIS division, okay, are the ones who are throughout there for the trainings. Okay, they are in any case not involved in the production as much. So MIS guys are there, they are doing the training, and then the business guys, the scheduler, the estimator, or the production manager, they only come for short spans of time when it is important for them to know their bit. And their bit is like very, very specific to this much. They don't need to know the entire gamut right now. The owner, we again give the opportunity of, if you want to attend these sessions all throughout, it's fine. If you don't want to attend, we'll give you the ones that are most critical and the ones where we need executive time, especially while we are conducting or doing the price tables. So based on your information that is currently stored over here on how you have devised prices for certain customers or how you want to devise price for certain customers, that's the time most of the executive time is really required. Yeah. Right now we have just got one. Yes, constantly. You can, because there is no limit to the number of pricing tables that you can generate. As many number of tables you generate, you just need to link up a particular table to every month, every day, every week. Okay. So this week, if it's a low season going on, you can just link it to a table which is this week's table. Yeah. 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 No, the reason, firstly the reason was that till about 2006 mid, we had decided not to launch the print MIS part of our product portfolio into India. The reason behind that was specifically because we did not have support groups, we did not have development teams, we did not have implementation team in place, and that all needed to come from Australia or England or US or all those parts. But now we have developed a fairly decent amount of team, and there is still support coming from abroad also, but at least that core team needs to be there for you to start selling more aggressively into the market. And right now we are focusing on the higher end of this software because we do not have enough people to go to the bottommost rung, because we have products which go start from right from the print shop level. Okay, but in the US and the UK, those are done by the customers themselves. They just buy it off us, put it into their system, run it, input their data into it, and keep running it. We have not really thought about going that small till now. If there are a good business, like right now there's a huge business opportunity of franchisee print for pay guys coming into the market, a lot of retail opening up into the market. So if you look at all the Source PDs, the Instaprints or all the print for pay, Staples, all these guys, they use EFI's Printsmith solution, which is the lowest end solution, as a print for pay. It has got an estimation tool inside it, it's got inventory in it, it's got paper calculators in it, it's got all the bits and pieces. And for all of you who would like to really see the lowest end of the Print MIS solution, can just log on to printsmith.com and you can download a free copy and run it for.
Already estimated data can be incorporated.
Pardon?
Already estimated data,
Uh-huh.
counted data, which is already there with the customer.
Okay.
Can be bridged with your MR system.
We will need to see that data and what form that data is in right now. If the estimate data or customer information data that is there with you can be exported out into Excel or some kind of a database system and then imported in, we can do that. Not a problem.
Mr. Sambit, here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, how small or big a print shop should be to really take advantage of your systems?
The smallest one can have 2 digital copier printers, and the biggest one could be RR Donnelley. The lowest end investment would be about going up to $10,000 to $12,000, and the highest end could be about $1 million. What I was explaining, I was not explaining as any products from EFI specifically. I was trying to give a more generic view of what MIS was. Okay, so if you are going to go the lowest end, okay, you can do that, but scalability becomes an issue. So when you are wanting to do you already have a print shop and now you have everything over there but a MIS system, then you go in for the high-end system and integrate your entire press. Yeah. Yes, because it can, it can do a lot of outsourcing. It can do multiple divisions within the same organization where each division is outsourcing job to the other. Even those kind of operations can be handled. If you have multiple companies within one parent company also, we can do that. You have multiple currency handling also can be done. But all of this is more and less in the high-end solutions. The low-end solutions are like single currency operating systems.
That will also cover all the financial aspects of business, the local taxation laws and VAT and excise and stuff like that.
Okay.
It has the entire gamut of a typical MIS.
For some of the systems that are really low end, I don't think we want to even get there, because the reason behind that is MIS over here typically is taken into account to improve your production process and not your administrative process. You can buy a rather cheaper software like Tally or something to do the stuff over there, export that data and integrate it into the MIS. That can be done. Export, import of data is possible. Okay, but real-time viewing of that data is right now not possible. For Indian laws, for some of the, for US, UK, all of that we have already done. We are now doing Polish, Czechoslovakia and all those things. So, and with the first installation, we are going to do it for the Indian one. So probably by the end of the first implementation, when it's over, we should be able to tackle that part of the question also.
Out of your installations worldwide, 20,000 as you said, could you give us an idea of the size which implement? I mean, in small you have so many, in medium you have so many, in terms of maybe
Okay.
tonnages or turnover or something? Like at
See-
what size do generally people start incorporating MIS systems?
See, at a worldwide level, typically a digital print shop would start a print MIS, okay? And he would start it at, today virtually in US or UK, you will not find a print shop who doesn't have a print MIS. You will not find one. Because if you go onto the web also, now they have integrated the MIS along with what I talked about, the e-opportunities. The quotations are generated on the web and go as quotations to the customer through the web itself. So the lowest end could be a digital printer, and as you go slightly bigger in the offset market space, I would say typically you have a couple of 4-color engines or 1 4-color and 2 or 3 2-color or single color machines. That's the level you can start print MIS with.
What about packaging printers?
Packaging printers are definitely a big market for us. We have a product called the PSI, which specifically goes into gravure, flexo kind of markets, and also we are now talking of putting the highest end, which is Hagen OA systems from EFI into packaging printers.
No, I mean installations worldwide in terms of packaging printers.
I won't remember anything particularly about packaging printers as such, but worldwide level, if you have heard of Senvio, you have heard of Minuteman Press, or you have heard of the Alpha Graphics. Those are the guys who are like fairly big in size, but there are small guys also, and we have installations at where people are about 20 people plus to going up to 100, 150 people also. Because in India, the number of people to the machine ratio is much higher, okay? But abroad, if you have 100 people in an organization, a press, that's a fairly decent size press. So we have about 75% market share in the print MIS business worldwide. So everybody else would, I mean, not really take too much amount of market share. The small players are there.
Who's your greatest competition in terms of print MIS?
I still really don't know, because I haven't come across anybody who has that much amount of variety of products, okay, and that much amount of development capabilities and infrastructure to match. Yeah.
I have a multi kind of printing facilities in a house.
Uh-huh.
You're focusing only on offset, your digital screen design.
Hybrid. See, the world today is going hybrid. So I would be foolish enough if I just concentrated on offset. And multiple locations, multiple currencies.
So your low end or entry level software support is multi-level.
The entry level softwares do support multi-locational with multiple licenses also, of course. But when you are on the higher end of the software, you don't need to buy multiple licenses. You buy one license because the initial license cost is high. So you buy one license and then you can open multiple sites. No, the server is centrally located in either of the places, doesn't matter. All of them work as nodes. Okay?
Typically just one-time cost, or do you have recurring cost for next how many years?
See, recurring cost is always in terms of software maintenance contracts. So if you want us to maintain that software for you, you want to upgrade that software constantly over the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you can keep on buying the software maintenance packages. But very frankly speaking, they're about 5 to 7% of the initial cost of buying a print MIS. Yeah. Not really. Not really. The reason behind that is all these different pieces of software have proprietary database systems that they are working with. Only when you go high end that you start working with more relational databases like Progress. Okay, and that's when you start really looking at more or less the real-time part of it.
Sambit,
Uh-huh.
and there is a scheduling part in there.
Mm-hmm.
If something goes wrong with that machine,
Mhm.
automatically take care of the scheduling, or you need to do manually.
I couldn't get that.
Suppose you
Sambit.
If the system goes down,
if software tell, okay, you put this job in these machines, and schedule for the scheduling, the printing schedule.
uh-huh.
And suppose one machine goes down,
Mhm.
it automatically take care of the scheduling, or
Yes, it can.
but
The
then estimating change.
Yeah, no, not estimating does not change. What it does is it basically tells you that the cost remaining the same, because what you have already quoted to the customer does not change anymore, no?
Internal cost.
Internal cost. So internal cost will change and it will give you a figure of how much money that you are losing or getting out of doing this new schedule that you are running.
When you say it's a web base, in the web base you can estimate from anywhere,
Mhm.
you can send to anywhere.
Mhm.
Can you change the parameter of your costing part?
Yes, because what you do is for every customer, like customer A, you can have one price table connected to his web-based interface and another one to another one. So when that customer comes in, his parameters are absolutely different from the first one.
Like if you are owner of the place,
Uh-huh.
you are anywhere,
Uh-huh.
and you put all the data inside.
Uh-huh.
And suppose you need to change, you know the price and drop down paper.
Okay.
You are alone in the office.
Okay.
Can you do all web-based changing the data?
You can do some amount of it, not a huge lot of it. Okay. You can give a call to someone in office and ask him to do that change. No, not that. Those tables are not right now web-based. It's more front-end kind of a thing.
Thanks, Sambit.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I would like to sum up in 2 minutes this. First of all, to ask whether we need an MIS in any printing press or not. I think we are the best example. We started, while Sambit says you should not write a software yourself, we didn't have a choice in '93. So we started writing ours. And you really don't, everybody doing his job does on the system, so automatically the system is capturing everything you need, and that becomes this running this one. So you're not doing anything specific. You have to quote, you have to make an order generation, you have to do a delivery challan, you have to do a production process. These things are automatically done by these systems, and without these, really, we cannot go any further. And most of you were listening to the financial this one before. One of the most important things in this particular system, if you want to go MIS, is there's no number one money and there's no number two money. There's only one money. And that's very, very important. It's very, very important because you can't hide these things from the income tax fellow. It's there in the hard disk. Everything will be known. So it is very important that we have to go in this system only and get everything recorded, because first of all, if you do this, you know how much inventory you have, you know what you have not lost or what you have lost, so at least we can keep track of things. There is no other way to do business. This is the only way to do business. And I think we are already running out of time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sambit.
May I call upon Hemant Potika to give away a small memento to Sambit. Thank you, Sambit, for a very nice presentation. It sort of simplified the whole process, raised a lot of questions, and I think you did a fantastic job. Give him a big hand, please. Thank you. I think now we have to just chill out a bit. We are waiting for that seminar on that side to get over, and then everybody joins us over here. Are they already here? Everybody's here? Not yet? Now we're having a joint session, and Mr. Iqbal Kirodawala will take over the mic and chair this session. They're not finished yet? Going on. So can we ask you some questions on MIS system? Or color management? Rashid, can I ask you some questions on color management? So, I think there's a feedback form in your kit. There isn't one? You're going to give it? Oh. Okay, we're going to send you a feedback form. Please fill it up and give us your comments. We were hoping to have that.